All right, so if all is well, I'm live and I should have sound. I just found out how to check it before I actually am going live. So no more trying out during the live stream. In today's live stream, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working with minor triads. In yesterday's live stream, we did everything with major triads. And this time we're going to do the minor version of it. Let me play you a little bit of what is going to be in store for you in this lesson. And then at the end, I also want to have some fun in showing you how I sometimes create new chords without necessarily upfront knowing where my ideas are going to lead me. So actually really a way to explore and discover new chords. Okay? So here is a little bit of a preview. That's just a sure thing. It's all improvised. I didn't really know where I was going with it, but it is done with some of the things that we'll be talking about during this stream. If there is anything wrong with this stream, so if video is bad or out, or if there's any trouble with sound, please let me know. That stuff is always good to hear. And let's get right into it. So yesterday we talked about the major triads. And basically for A, we had A major. Let me switch to my hands-on view here. So we had A major. Then this is our normal A major chord in first position. What I do is I fret it with my index finger over second of D, G, and B. Then we had A major in fifth position, right? So that's derived from our E-shaped A chord. So that is index finger B5, middle finger G6, and ring finger on D7. And then we moved on to, A here, which is sort of derived from our C shape. And that is middle finger on B10, index finger G9, and ring finger on D11. Right? So 3 triads, this one, and that one. Now, the difference between a major triad and a minor triad is in the third. So each triad is built from the root note, the third, and the fifth. However, with the major chord, the third is a major third, and with the minor triad, the third is a minor third. So what does it look like? Well, the difference between a major third and a minor third is a half step. I can show you pretty simply. So when you have A, right, and I switch to A minor, I'm kind of assuming you know these chords. The only difference is that this note moves down a half step. So that is your third. This is major, that is minor. So the only thing that we have to figure out is what the third is for all those 3 shapes. So here the third is on top. With the next one, it's the middle one, right? And with this one, it's the bottom one, right? So it's under a ring finger. So the third is on top with this one, third is in the middle with this one, and the third is in the bottom on this one. Hey, thanks. Yeah, great, you're enjoying the lesson. Awesome. So the only thing that we need to do now is just lower all those thirds, and then we got the minor version of it. Let's see. So we have A minor, that was the easy one. Now the next one would be, sounds good, and then this one is, there you go. So now we have A minor in 3 different ways. This one, that one, and that one. But like with the Cage system, it's always nice to have a way to identify each shape, right? So each shape should have its own name. And there is a system for that. So, and I explained that in yesterday's video. So if you have the 3 notes of your chord, right? So you have root note, third, and fifth. If I move the root note to the top, I have third, fifth, root note. That's our first inversion, right? Then, if I move this one to the top, now I have fifth, root note, third, right? So that is our second inversion. And so this one here, the first shape that we use is actually the second inversion. This shape here is our root position, and this one here is our first inversion, right? Second inversion, root position, and first inversion. But we're doing it in minor, so that's going to be this, and then that. I had to think a little bit. I don't have any position markers on this guitar. Sometimes that makes it a little bit tricky to navigate. I've been playing this guitar for years, but for whatever reason, sometimes it still messes with my brain. Okay, so now what we want to do is have another chord to play with. And what I chose for this lesson today is the E minor chord. So E minor, well, the first one is going to be easy, right? It's just derived from our E shape. So that is middle finger, I guess, on D in second position. And we use our open E string for the bass, right? Then for the next one, we're going to have a shape that is derived from the C shape. So this would be the major version of it. Oh, whoops. There you go. And we're moving this note, the ring finger, down. And we just do a little bit of a swap. So we have middle finger on D5, index finger on G4, and ring finger on B5. And then, of course, with the E open string. So this one here, root position, this one here is our first inversion, and then comes our second inversion. So if it was major, it would be those 3 in a row, like with the A shape, right? So you would have 9 on D, G, and B. But this one here is moved down a half step. So we have middle finger on D9, ring finger on G9, and index finger on B9. So like that. And that's second inversion. So we have root position, first position, first inversion, and then the second inversion. So now those are your triads. Now you can already have a lot of fun with those triads. So you can just apply a picking pattern to this. And I'm going to show you with this view here. And like this, I'm going to start on A minor. Then move up to the root position. And then I'm going to choose the nearest E minor triad. And then move that one up. Right? So I started here in first position. Then I moved up to the root position here in fifth. Then I switched to E minor, the closest in first inversion. And then moved up to the second inversion. right? And that on itself is a really nice progression to play around with. And you could record yourself playing it and then playing over it, play a little bit of a melody. You can also start, of course, on the higher ones. So you could start A minor here, and then going to the first inversion, then going to E minor. And now for me, this one is a little bit tight, but I could also go down. So you would have right. Okay, so this is the basics of it, right? These are just a couple of triads that you're playing, but now it's time to make them a little bit more interesting. And for a lot of people, when we're playing chords, it's like melody and chords are two different things, or chords and scales are two different worlds. So either you use a scale to play your solo, or you play chords to accompany something. And I think that a lot of the variations that you can play on chords are more about creating also something like a melody with those chords. So let me show you. So what we'll need to do is we'll need to pick a scale to go with these chords. For this lesson, I chose to do the E minor scale, E natural minor scale to be precise. So that has an F sharp in it. So it's E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E. So that means that if I'm playing my A minor chord here, right, I have open B as a melody note, and I have this one here under my pinky as a melody note close by. I'm going to switch views, by the way. So I'm going to do this, right? So I have A minor without the index finger, then with the index finger, and then I could add the pinky as well. All right, so. And then I could do the same thing with my E minor chord. So I switch to E minor. Right? So that already creates a lot of options. Now, when I do this, I'm thinking A minor and E minor. I'm not thinking A minor, A sus2, A sus4, and I'm also not thinking E minor 7, E minor flat 6, or C over E. None of that. I'm just thinking the basic chord, but I'm creating a melody over top of it, and it's a really liberating way to play with your chords because you can really play around with it. So if I would do the same thing for this A minor, okay, so which melody notes do I have close by? Well, I have this one, the E, F sharp is here on my ring finger, and pinky is here. So I have and especially that F sharp has a very, very nice sound to it, at least in my ears. Right? So if I have that E minor chord, I have those same notes. I have E, F sharp, with a little bit of a stretch. I have that G there. So if I play that sort of a similar thing there, I have right? So it creates beautiful, beautiful sounds, and you can play. Of course, right now I'm playing it arpeggiated. You can do it with strumming. I'll give you some examples there. And then if we move up another position, so now I have A minor here, so I have a couple of options for A minor. So my ring finger here is on A, and maybe something that I should have done is just explain the E minor scale. So you have B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, right? That's what you have to choose from. So A minor, so I can have my pinky there on the B, I have my pinky there on the C, or just ring finger on A. What I can also do is I switch around a little bit, I can also play the G there, right? So and then if I go to the E minor version, I have these options, so I can play E minor, so the G under my index finger, F sharp, which sounds pretty cool, pinky for the sus4, and if I would stretch it out, I could even reach the B. I'm not expecting everyone to be able to do that, but it all depends on what you want to do. And of course, the shape of your hands. Let's not forget that. So if I were to play that in this area, let's see what we can come up with. Right? So this is all improvised in the moment. Many times I have no clue what I'm doing. Well, that's not entirely true, of course, but I am sort of exploring. So I'm not here trying to perform anything. I'm just trying to show you how I try to explore just two simple triads, adding a melody to it, and then seeing where it takes me. And it's a lot of fun. So, and I got my little cheat sheet here. Just have like a couple of talking points written down there. So once you feel that you have discovered certain sounds that you're like, hey, that sounds cool, then that could be something to look for on purpose. So right now I'm just sort of bumping into these sounds, but what if you could go for those sounds? Now, let me show you what I mean. So one thing that I really like with both the E minor chord and the A minor chord is if I'm playing F sharp on E minor, so that's the major second, or B on A minor, right? It has a certain sound to it. So what if I could, on purpose, play the major second on all of those triads? So here is my A minor triad. This is the fifth. This is the root, and I'm out of tune. It's probably due to all the hot lights. Let's see. I'm just going to quickly... I wish you could sort of pause the stream for this kind of stuff, but then everybody would leave. So I just want to quickly tune. Yeah, started to go sharp. All right, there we go. Should be good enough. Okay, so yeah, so the major second. So the major second is a whole step above the root note. I know that because, well, because I know. I know that because I see it on the fretboard, right? So I have my my scale, and then I see that second for E minor is a whole step above the root note. Sorry about that. So this A minor, this is the root note, this is a whole step above. So this is, for whatever reason, my computer goes on standby, right? So this is my A minor add 9 chord. So that is middle finger on D2, pinky on G4, and index finger on B1. Then for my root position, remember root position, so the ring finger has the root note, so I go a whole step above that, so my pinky now goes to 9th. So I have 9, 5, 5, stretchy chord, but very nice. And then we go to the last one, which is this one. So you start with the triad in the first inversion, and then you go a whole step above that ring finger. All right, so my pinky is now in 12. So we have I think someone in our house is going to have a cup of tea, and I do hope they get to share some with me as well. Anyways, so those are great sounds. So that is something that you kind of run into when you're trying these things, and then whatever you find is interesting, you just try to apply to all three of them. The only thing that it requires is that you know where that note is in relationship to one of the three notes that you have. That's the only thing. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is to show you that you can, of course, also introduce open strings. So in the previous video, what I did was I just added 2 open strings. So the B and the E string. So when I play A minor, like this, and then A minor, so this one here without barring the B string, and then here, right, has a very nice sound to it. Do video on dreaming. Tell me intro plucking by YJM. Oh my goodness. So I'm 47 years old, and that's too many, what is it? Too many abbreviations that I don't know. So I don't know what you're trying to tell me. But if you can explain, that would be awesome. So maybe just type out what you want me to show, and I'll see if I can, yeah, YJM. I'm assuming that's an artist. Never heard of the band or the artist. Anyways, but next to having those open strings, what you can also do is have one open string, for instance, the B string, but then adding one of the scale notes on the E string. So you would have E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E. So you would start, for instance, with your A minor with that open B string, but then you would have that high note there. let's see, just trying to figure out something here quickly. So I kind of like this one. I like this one. Going to that one. So it's probably that. So what I'm doing here is I'm having that root position A minor chord, but then with an open B string. And then adding my pinky in 7th. And then, and then going to the first inversion for the E minor chord, but then with an open B string. And then I want to have this note on the melody and this one, so I have to rearrange that chord a little bit so I can play that with my pinky and then with my index finger, right? So we have and then maybe, let's see, sorry. Anyways, I'm starting to ramble. So obviously I'm past my structured part of what I was doing today. So if you want to practice this kind of stuff, what I would start with is I would start with just playing those triads, right? A minor, A minor, A minor, then going to E minor. Right? Try different picking patterns and just get comfortable playing and switching between them, staying in the same position, finding its nearest neighbor, kind of. So A minor going to E minor, or A minor going to E minor here, right? They all have just slightly different sounds. Then I would try to work on a single chord and then seeing the scale that you want to use with it, and then just trying different melody notes. So if you're here, right, that F sharp was really nice. Right? But it is good to have really a certain goal. So you want to set some boundaries for yourself, because as you can see with me, this quickly can turn into noodling, and you don't necessarily want to do that the whole time. Then the other thing is that, then once you hear that certain sounds really attract, so you feel like, oh, when I play that melody note, it creates this, I don't know, just this sound that I really enjoy. Try to figure out why that is. Is that melody note part of the chord, or is it actually something that's not part of the chord? Kind of guessing it wouldn't be, because it creates extra color, and usually that feels exciting. And then you try to find that note and try to combine it with the other triads as well, right? So you can see if it just works with that inversion, or if it works with all of them, right? And it's just exploring. And the idea of exploring on the guitar is, I think, sometimes a little bit overlooked. Many people have very structured exercises, and I think it's good for technique building and whatnot. But I think it's really interesting to just look for sounds that feel good, that you can lose yourself in, and that's kind of what this is for. All right, so this is the last stream of this week. Next week I'm going to be back on Tuesday at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time, and on Wednesday 7 p.m. Pacific time. What I'm going to do then, hopefully I'm going to have enough preparation done so I can finish, or at least do a good chunk again, of Imagine by Tommy Emmanuel. I'm also thinking of working on another Matteo Zasado song, so I might do that live or not. And there's also a good chance that I'm going to do a follow-up lesson on this one and the previous one, just to explore some other options and mixing the majors and the minors. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did. I'm going to stop this stream now because I'm going to go camping very early in the morning and we still have to pack. So wishing you all a great week. And yeah, let me know in the comments what you think.